I hope everyone watching is having a great 4th of July weekend. Before we start today's show, I want you all to rank these holidays from best to worst. 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Halloween. I'd probably go Thanksgiving, 4th of July, and then Halloween. Let me know what you think, though down in the comment section. Let's talk about Justin Simmons on today's show because my boss sent me a link to this Vegas Next Team Odds website, and I was surprised to see how high up the list the Browns were to sign the two-time Pro Bowler Justin Simmons. So here are the Next Team Odds for the former Bronco. The Giants leading the way at plus 400. Then the Eagles, Bills, and the Browns right behind them at plus 900. So I thought we could spend just a few minutes kind of talking about Justin Simmons as a potential free agent target for Cleveland because we often know Vegas, it tends to know. So let's get some background information on Justin Simmons first, and then I'll give you my opinion on the idea of signing him. He was a third-round draft pick in 2016 out of Boston College by the Broncos. He has played his entire career up to this point with the Denver Broncos. Now, he was released by the team back in March due to a cap savings move. The Broncos, they dumped Russell Wilson, if you recall, and they were over the salary cap, so they had to move on from some expensive players like Justin Simmons and Jerry Jeudy, which is why Cleveland only had to give up a fifth and a sixth to get him because they took on his entire contract. Now, Simmons has been one of the best ball hawk safeties since being drafted by Denver. Like Denzel Ward, he has had a minimum of 2 interceptions every single season. Go back to 2022, the guy led the league in interceptions, and he only played 12 games. I think Justin Simmons is one of the most criminally underrated players in our game. Look at the interceptions over the last 4 years. 5, 6. A down year for this guy was 3. We're almost penalizing him because he didn't have 5 or 6 interceptions because the bar is always set so high for himself by himself. Justin Simmons, since being drafted in 2016, leads the NFL in picks with 30. Keep in mind, second, Xavier Howard, he had 10 one year. The guy has more interceptions since 2016 than a player who had 10 interceptions in one season. Justin Simmons, in my opinion, has been one of the best safeties in football for the last 8 years or so. I love Justin Simmons as a player, if you couldn't tell already, but I don't think the Browns need another safety. Now, if they were to sign Justin Simmons, by no means would I be upset about it. I would be surprised, though. Look at the Browns safety room with me. You've got Juan Thornhill and Grant Delpit. One player you added in free agency, 3 years, $21 million, if I remember correctly. The other you extended at the end of last season, 3 years, $36 million. You re-signed Rodney McLeod. You got great young players in Ronnie Hickman and DeAnthony Bell. The Browns safety room, pound for pound, might be their best room on the entire roster. Last year, Grant Delpit unfortunately had an injury, cut his season short at the end, but he was playing at a really solid level going into that. 80 tackles, 3 pass breakups, 1 interception. Now, we did not see much or as much I would have liked to have seen out of Juan Thornhill. Rodney McLeod, up until his season-ending injury, was a really solid third safety that would probably start on a lot of other teams, but wants to play under DC Jim Schwartz in Cleveland and probably feels like this Browns roster and locker room is building something and wants to be a part of it. So I really like where the Browns safety room is at right now. I am confident with the 5 guys they have on their roster, Grant Delpit, Juan Thornhill, Rodney McLeod, DeAnthony Bell, and Ronnie Hickman. You could make any starting combination of those 5 players, and I'd be okay with it. Really think about that for any other room. Can you say the same about 5 different tight ends or 5 different wide receivers and go, yeah, pick 2 of those 5 and it's a great room for you? Probably not. But the Brown safety room, they just hit on 2 awesome UDFAs in Bell and Ronnie Hickman and toss in some signings and some draft picks of their own, and they've got 5 legit starting caliber players all on the same team. So I don't think the Browns have this massive need to add Justin Simmons, but we are talking about my man Blockbuster Andrew Berry. And if he looks and finds a way to improve the roster, he's not going to avoid it. Now, we're going to talk about that in just a second here. But if you enjoy the free content we're providing here at the Cleveland Browns Report, make sure to subscribe because training camp is about 3 weeks away, and I don't want you to miss any of the cool highlights and clips and things like that come out of it. So make sure to subscribe, lock yourself in for the best Browns training camp coverage out there. Now let's talk about the money side. Can the Browns afford Justin Simmons? They currently have $13.7 million in cap space according to Over the Cap. Now, Justin Simmons was set to make before he was released last year, or this past March, about $14 million. He's not finding $14 million anymore on the open market. My gut tells me Justin Simmons probably signs like a 1-year, $7 million contract with a bunch of incentives put in there. Maybe like 1 year, $6 million with a bunch of incentives, which is an absolute crime for someone that's been so good for such a consistent period of time and isn't getting like old and falling off a cliff. But do the Browns want to spend more at the safety position? They currently have $12.2 million in cap space devoted to all the safeties on the roster, which is actually a lower number than I thought it would be, just given the fact that they extended Delpit, signed Thornhill, signed Rodney McLeod. They're only 22nd in cap space devoted to the safety position. The first, by the way, I was very surprised. Arizona Cardinals, Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson. So that's one hell of a way to build a roster, starting from the safeties up to the line. But it seems unlikely, if I'm being transparent, that the Browns go out and sign Justin Simmons. But I remember when they signed Okoronkwo, the tone was, oh, the Browns are good at pass rusher. They've got Myles Garrett, Okoronkwo, Alex Wright from the draft, Isaiah McGuire, like, they're good to go. And then Andrew Berry thought, yeah, but we could do better. So let's go trade for Zadarius Smith. What if he has the same conversation with himself in regards to Justin Simmons? Look what this DB room could be. Denzel Ward. I can't even fit all the names on screen, by the way. We don't have a graphic that is that large. I'm leaving off like Martin Emerson and Juan Thornhill, but just imagine like a core, if you will, of Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson, Grant Delpit, Justin Simmons. It's already one of the best secondaries, in my opinion. This could push it over the top. And in a year where the Browns are not holding back at all, if Justin Simmons' price drops a little bit, Andrew Berry may decide, you know what? We never thought we'd have a chance at you because you were so good, you'd be so expensive, but since you're still on the open market, do you want to come over to Cleveland and already improve what's one of the best defenses in football and really put this thing over the edge? Kind of tough to pass on that, right? So I'll turn it over to you guys. Would you sign Justin Simmons? Give me a yes or no in the comment section. I don't think the Browns have a need to sign Simmons, but they've done a lot of things they didn't have a need to do, right? Did they need another defensive tackle in the draft this year? No. What did Andrew Berry do with pick 54? Go defensive tackle after re-signing Maurice Hurst and Shelby Harris and adding Quentin Jefferson with Dalvin Tomlinson already there and drafting Siaki Ika last year. Andrew Berry has a habit of, hey, I'm going to stick by my morals. And as a GM, I always want to look and find ways to improve the roster. And if Justin Simmons, in his opinion, is an improvement from what they already have, which, listen, that's not a knock against the guys in the roster currently. It's just an acknowledgement that Justin Simmons is a Pro Bowl caliber player that really has no business being a free agent still. So maybe that's something that creeps into Andrew Berry's mind as he kind of enjoys his 6-week summer break between minicamp and training camp. And he goes, you know what? I'm kind of bored. Binged every show I wanted to watch. This new season, the Bears sucks. I haven't seen it. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Let's go F around and sign Justin Simmons because why not? Maybe. Maybe not. All right. That will do it for us on today's show. But before we get on out of here, make sure you get your hands on these Browns polos at chatsports.com/Browns polos. I made this hyperlink as easy as possible for you guys to remember. But in case you forgot, I also put it in the comments and description of today's video. All right, now let's really put a bow on this bad boy by picking a card. We got producer Reed hanging out with us today. Reed, which card would you go with?
Let's go with 2 of spades.
2 of spades? I can get around that. I can get behind that. Put me down for the King of Hearts. It was close. Ace of Hearts.
Oh.
Ace of Hearts.
Almost.
All right. We will sign off. I hope everyone had a wonderful day and 4th of July weekend all together, and I'll see you all later.